In British literature, after watching this screencast, the student should be able to write a paper with correct MLA format, with a correct heading, in-text citations, and a correct works cited page. Literature, all of my students are required to write a research paper in MLA format at the end of each marking period. This PowerPoint will help answer any questions revolving MLA format with citations, a heading, and any reference to extra help. The heading. Correct MLA formatted heading looks like this, with the name of the student, then the teacher's name, then the class, and then the date. An example is down here. If I was Bobby Joe and I was writing my research paper, my name is Bobby Joe, which goes first. Then under is the teacher's name, Miss Helmandollar. Under that is the class, British literature, and then the date. Now notice the date looks a little bit differently than how we would normally speak. When we speak, we say it is October 4th, 2017. That relates to the frequent mistakes that is found over here. Now that mistake is down here at number 4, so we'll get to that eventually. But the first mistake is an incorrect order of listed items. Some students flip the name of the teacher's name in the class. That's the one that's most frequently found. It is always your name, the teacher's name, then the class, and then the date. Another mistake, number 2, is not double spacing the heading. In a normal MLA formatted paper, we write in Times New Roman, size 12, and the paper is double spaced. Now the heading is a part of the paper, therefore the heading should also be double spaced as well. Number 3 is a different font and size. Like I said, the heading should also be in Times New Roman, size 12 font. Now, the date in the heading. The date, as I said before, when we speak it, is October 4th, 2017. Now, in an MLA formatted paper, we say the day, then the month, then finally the year. It is a little different, but make sure you put this in your paper. Finally, a heading should always be on the left margin of the paper. If this was a document, the heading should be up in this corner. It should never be in the middle, it should never be in the right. It should always be in the top left corner. Now the whole point of a research paper is to get outside research to help support your argument as evidence. With this research, you will be quoting in your papers, which means you should have a correct in-text citation. The first rule of in-text citations is that it should always have an introduction. Now I have 2 examples over here. The first is a correct in-text citation. As you've noted, it has an introduction stating, after introducing the idea of Disney World, Walt Disney stated, comma. In the incorrect in-text citation, there is no introduction, which leaves the audience wondering who said that quote and when did they say it. Next, the author's last name and page number appears in parentheses following the quote. Back to the correct in-text citation. Walt Disney stated this. Disney is his last name, so the last name goes here, and the page number is right here. In the incorrect in-text citation, Disney is not in parentheses, the 24 is in parentheses, but this leaves Disney in the middle of nowhere. Finally, and the most frequent mistake that I see with in-text citations is that the punctuation always appears outside of the parentheses. Back to the correct in-text citation, after the quote and the cite, I have the period. This closes the quotation, allowing you to explain further what the quote means. In the incorrect in-text citation, I have the period after the quote, which is closing off the quote, which is not allowing for the reader to know who said it and the page number. For additional questions and help, Purdue OWL has the greatest website for MLA format and all different types of format with research papers. Purdue OWL is constantly updating, so they have the newest and greatest edition of MLA format, which is why teachers also use this website very often. Now this website has everything you will need. In-text citations, the basics right here, formatting quotations, endnotes and footnotes, and finally, works cited. Now works cited pages are very tricky for students because there's a lot that needs to go in them. This website helps break down every step of using either a journal, a book, an article, a website, or any other type of research you would use for your research paper. It goes step by step, author, title, title of container, other contributors, the version, the number, the publisher, publication date, anything that you will need to make your citation to be perfect. A works cited page is very important in a research paper. You never want to be caught for plagiarism, and the works cited page is exactly where you say, this is where I found my information, and this is what it looks like. Another helpful aspect to Purdue OWL is they have a MLA formatted paper as an example with tips that are written in blue and green throughout the paper. Notice the heading, like we talked about before, quotations throughout the paper, and then finally the last thing that I want to mention is this heading, but we'll get to that in a second. I want to go down to the works cited page that is seen in this paper. There are many works cited throughout this entire page. If you want an example, this is a great one. Notice how they have the margin set up, works cited is labeled, and everything is how it should be. This is a great resource to use. Now let's get back to this part of the heading. This is the last step to creating your heading, which is called the header. Always make sure the heading is the same size and font as the rest of the paper. No different than the heading, it should be in Times New Roman size 12 font. The heading should be in the header so it does not take up space in the paper. To do this, go into your Microsoft Word, click Insert, and you will see Page Number. After clicking Page Number, there will be a number, a header, or at the bottom of the page. We want it at the top. Once you click that, it will insert a page number at the top of your document. Double-click the number, and then type your last name, which gives ownership to the paper. Finally, change the font if it's not changed already. Don't worry about changing each specific page number, because by adding a page number, that job is already done for you. Good luck writing your research papers!